When bank leaders are thinking of a merger of equal versus a traditional M&A situation, it's different in almost every respect. First, when you look at it, you have to get down to the detail to determine how is this deal coming together. If it's a change of shares on both sides of 48 to 52%, that really does denote a merger of equal. That contrasts when a firm has 60% of the shares and the other firm has 40. They're really acquiring that other firm. So first, is it a true merger of equal? If it is, how the biggest difference is culturally, you're really integrating two management teams, two employee bases into one organization. It's not one acquiring the other. And because of this cultural undertone, both teams are nervous. They're not sure of how this is going to work out. And because of that, that really results in three different things. First, there's new compensation packages for the officers and the employees. Two, there's new employment agreements for the top executives. And three, there's different special incentives, pay to lead, pay to integrate awards. And collectively, this is the glue to help bring together these two management teams to make sure that the integration is successful. And last, you really have to think about say-on golden parachute and the subsequent say-on pay from an institutional investor perspective to make sure they're comfortable with how these packages are brought together. As leaders contemplate a merger of equals, there's a lot of preparation that both sides need to really kind of undergo and come to agreement on. First is come together with a post-merger peer group. This is the basis for the going forward executives and what their compensation programs will look like. Second is modeling out the compensation for really the top officers and what that'll look like in a post-merger organization. This helps get you to base salary, annual incentives, long-term incentives. And then third, really should be doing due diligence relative to other merger of equal situations. What have they done relative to agreements, employment agreements, change of control agreements? What have they done relative to pay to lead, pay to integrate rewards? And all of this due diligence, all this homework is something that needs to be looked at by both compensation committees of the organizations to make sure it's reasonable to the ongoing compensation packages, it's reasonable relative to the agreements, and it's reasonable relative to the pay to lead and pay to integrate awards. Post-announcement is all about telling your story. Disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. So first and foremost, there's the 8K, which announces the deal. And in that 8K, they actually are disclosing what the material compensatory agreements are for both sides of the transaction. It's the first time that the institutional investors will see the underpinnings of this deal. Secondly, from that 8K to the proxy that is being filed for the shareholder votes, you have another opportunity to tell your story relative to the compensation that is here. And you want to be in a position of being proactive on these points in terms of why we're paying this compensation going forward, why we pay these amounts as a part of the deal close, why are we paying these amounts relative to pay to lead and to pay to integrate. You want to be proactive on this and tell your story and communicate as best you can. That's your best tie to your institutional investors to making sure they understand the story. What are the final thoughts relative to managing a merger of equals situation? First, it's infinitely harder than traditional M&A. It's not company A buying company B. You are really merging two different organizations. You're integrating two different teams to become one better team. And while you start with culture, your compensation needs to be supportive of that integration. From the base pay packages to the agreements, the pay to lead, the pay to integrate awards, these compensatory structures are the glue that allow these two teams to come together as one. So culture first and compensation supports that to be a successful merger.